They say you don't truly know someone until you live with them. I wish someone had warned me just how true that is, before I turned my tiny one-bedroom apartment into a rescue shelter for someone who would later make me question my sanity, my kindness, and my ability to say no. I still remember the night she messaged me, Desiree. We hadn't spoken in a few months. Life, distance, jobs, growing up. It happens. But when her name lit up my phone at 11:42 p.m. on a rainy Tuesday, I just knew something was wrong. Hey. I don't know who else to call. I'm really sorry. Can I stay with you? Just for a few nights? I didn't even hesitate. She was my best friend in college. The kind of girl who shared her fries, secrets, and dorm bed with me when my boyfriend broke my heart sophomore year. She was loud, messy, and impossible not to love. I remembered how she used to say, "You're my emergency contact forever, babe." So how could I turn her down when the emergency finally came? She showed up with 2 duffel bags, mascara-stained cheeks, and a smile that broke my heart. I hugged her so hard I could feel the panic still clinging to her skin. "I'll sleep on the couch," she said. "It folds out. I'll grab sheets." We stayed up late that first night. Wine. Takeout. Tears. She'd been laid off from her hotel job. Her landlord kicked her out after 2 months of unpaid rent. Her parents didn't have space, and her on-again off-again situationship ghosted her when she asked to crash. "I'm so embarrassed," she whispered, curling into a throw blanket. "I'll be gone by Friday. I promise." But Friday came and Friday went. And so did the next Friday. And the one after that. The first few days, she washed the dishes. She even baked banana bread once, left a little note on the counter that said, "Thank you for saving my ass, love." But then something changed. She started sleeping all day. Not like depressed tired, but blackout curtains up, don't wake me unless the apartment is burning asleep. She stayed up until 3 a.m. watching reality shows at full volume in the living room, while I tried to rest in the room next door before my 7 a.m. shift. When I asked if she could turn it down one night, she blinked at me like I was speaking another language. "Babe, I've had a rough day. Can you just chill? I'll turn it down in a bit." She never did. The signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. I told myself she was going through it. That she just needed time. That she wasn't eating all my groceries on purpose. That she'd definitely Venmo me when she gets her first paycheck. But there was no job. No resume writing. No interviews. Just more mess. More of my towels used. My toothpaste. My deodorant. She even borrowed my favorite jacket without asking and spilled wine on it during one of her stay-at-home wine nights. And the worst part? She started inviting people over. Random guys. Strangers. One of them stayed the night. In my apartment. Without me knowing. It wasn't one thing that broke me. It was the moment I walked into my own bathroom and saw the mirror fogged up and the floor wet, and realized someone had just showered in my home and it wasn't me or her. When I confronted her, she smirked. "It's not that deep. He needed to rinse off. He's clean." Like I was being dramatic for wanting my home, my space, to feel safe. I started crying. Not big sobs. Just quiet, humiliated tears while she rolled her eyes and walked past me like I was being ridiculous. I slept with my door locked that night for the first time since moving in. The next day I told her we needed to talk. I made tea. I planned my words. I even wrote them down so I wouldn't spiral or sound too emotional. But she beat me to it. "I'm really glad you're finally opening up," she said before I could start. "Because, honestly, I've been feeling super judged in this space lately. Like, I'm sorry if I don't meet your perfect standards of living. Not everyone had parents who paid for their apartment." That stung. Bad. Because I did work for this place. I budgeted, scrimped, saved. I didn't go to brunch or buy new shoes for months. My parents weren't rich. They just co-signed. But none of that mattered to her. She was already building her defense. "You act like I'm some moocher, but I'm your friend. I thought friends help each other when they're down." That was the moment I knew she wasn't leaving unless I made her. It took me 2 more days to find the courage. I waited until she was out. I packed up her things neatly and left them in the living room. When she came back and saw the bags, her voice turned ice cold. "What is this?" I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just told her the truth. "I need my space back. I can't do this anymore." She laughed. Like, actually laughed. "Wow. You're heartless. I lost everything. And you're putting me on the street like trash." I reminded her it had been 3 weeks. I reminded her she said 3 days. But it didn't matter. Because to her, kindness had a price, and mine had expired. She called me fake. A snake. Said she should have stayed with that guy instead, because at least he had room. She slammed the door so hard my neighbors knocked to ask if I was okay. She texted me the next morning. "Hope you feel good about yourself. You abandoned me." I blocked her. Then I cried for 3 hours. Not because I regretted it, but because I finally realized that sometimes, helping someone drowns you both. I never expected to feel like the villain in a story where I offered a couch to someone I used to love like a sister. It's wild how silence can be louder than screaming. After she slammed the door and vanished, my apartment felt so quiet it felt like it had forgotten how to breathe. I stood there, still holding my tea, now cold and untouched, my eyes locked on the dent in the wall her duffel bag had made on the way out. I thought I'd feel relief. I expected to feel free. But what I felt was shame. And guilt. And this weird hollow space in my chest that used to be filled with loyalty. The next few days were uneventful, but unnerving. It started small. A mutual friend posted a cryptic story on Instagram. Some people love you until you stop serving them. Then another one shared a tweet that said, "Funny how people turn their backs on you when you have nothing left to give." I knew they were about me. I knew she'd gone around telling people her side. I didn't respond. I didn't even explain. I didn't know how to say, she made me feel like a stranger in my own home. Without sounding like a cold-hearted traitor. Because Desiree was the life of the party. The funny one. The chaotic but lovable mess. And me? I was the stable one. The quiet, responsible one. The one who, apparently, should have known better than to kick someone when they were already down. You'd think I'd start sleeping better with her gone. But I didn't. I started waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., thinking I heard footsteps in the hall. Sometimes I swore I heard her voice, laughing with someone at the edge of my memory. Other times I imagined the door opening, her coming back, dragging her bags in with that same smirk. I kept my bedroom door locked out of habit. I couldn't look at my couch without remembering the stains from her red wine and cheap eyeliner. Even my plants started to droop a little, maybe because I kept forgetting to water them. Or maybe because energy sticks to things, and mine was drained. A week later, she messaged me from a burner account. "Hey. I know you blocked me. Just wanted to say I'm sorry for how things ended. I'm in a better place now. Hope you're okay." That was it. No acknowledgement of what she'd done. No apology for the name she called me. Just that, flat, self-serving, and, in her own twisted way, probably sincere. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't reply. I just archived it. I didn't need closure. I needed boundaries. A few days later, I ran into Layla, one of our old friends from school. We bumped into each other at the pharmacy. She looked awkward, her smile stiff. "Hey. Wow. How are you?" She knew. I could tell. And for a second, I thought maybe she'd tell me the gossip. Ask for my side. But she didn't. She just said, "Hope things are better," and walked away. Later that night, I got another message, this time from an old acquaintance we both knew. "Did you really kick Desiree out when she was homeless? That's kinda cold, NGL." That one hurt more than it should have. Because people only saw the tip of the iceberg. They didn't see the pile of my bills growing. The empty fridge. The mental load. The panic attacks I was starting to have. They didn't know that kindness without boundaries becomes a cage. Eventually, the anger came. It didn't arrive loudly. It crept in like fog, subtle but suffocating. I started replaying every moment where I'd swallowed my frustration. Every time I told myself to be patient. Every night I heard her laugh while I lay awake counting how many shifts I'd have to pick up to make rent. I started talking to myself more. Not out loud, just in my head. "She used you. You let her. Don't let this happen again." That last one stuck. It echoed. So I bought a journal. I wrote down a list of all the things I was no longer available for. I called it my no list. No more guests without time limits. No more emotional blackmail disguised as friendship. No more apologies for needing space. I put the list on my fridge. A kind of contract with myself. It didn't happen overnight. But slowly, my space became mine again. I changed the couch cushions. I donated the throw blanket she used to curl up in. I took a deep breath one morning and finally aired the place out, like I was chasing out ghosts. And that night, for the first time in weeks, I slept with the door open. Not because I forgot. But because I wasn't afraid anymore. Even with her gone and the apartment clean, something stayed with me, like a shadow that clung to the walls. It wasn't fear. Not anymore. It was guilt. And not the kind that eats at you from the outside, it came from inside, like a whisper that wouldn't leave. What if she really had nowhere else to go? What if I had just waited one more week? What if I am the bad guy in her version of the story? Sometimes I sat with those thoughts for hours. Other times I smothered them with music or Netflix or cleaning the grout in my kitchen tiles at midnight. But they always came back. I wrote her a message one night. Just a simple one. "I'm sorry things happened the way they did. I wish it had ended differently. I hope you're okay." I stared at it for an hour. Then I deleted it. Because I realized that message wasn't for her. It was for the version of her that used to sit next to me in college dorm rooms, whispering secrets and dreams. The version that didn't leave dishes in the sink for days. The version that hadn't looked me in the eye and called me heartless. That girl was gone. Maybe she never existed. And I wasn't going to chase ghosts. 6 months later, my apartment looks nothing like it used to. I got a new rug. Painted one wall a deep, moody green. Replaced the couch with something smaller, softer, mine. I rearranged my shelves, filled them with things that sparked joy instead of obligation. I started waking up earlier. Making coffee instead of just grabbing it. Sitting by the window instead of eating over the sink. I stopped listening for footsteps in the hallway. I started living again. I saw her again. It was at a mutual's birthday party I hadn't planned on attending. I almost turned around when I saw her across the room. She looked fine. Same confident posture. Same loud laugh. Same ability to dominate any space she walked into. But something about her eyes felt hollow. She didn't see me, at first. But eventually, our eyes met. Just for a second. No words. No smiles. Just a flicker of recognition. A crack in the glass. And then she turned back to her drink like I was nobody. It didn't hurt like I thought it would. In fact, it felt good. Like my heart exhaled for the first time in months. I've made new friends since then. Not the kind who love the spotlight. Not the kind who joke about being hot messes like it's an identity. These ones are quieter. Kinder. The kind of people who ask before showing up. Who bring soup when you're sick. Who listen without making it about them. And the best part? They don't make me feel like I'm walking on eggshells in my own home. Here's what I've learned: kindness isn't infinite. Not without refills. Love doesn't mean sacrificing your sanity. And loyalty doesn't mean abandoning yourself. I don't hate her. I never did. But I love myself more now. And maybe that's the biggest plot twist of all.